On the Fringe with Dan Radio Style. Hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. I needed a different kind of thumbnail today. I'm tired of making Epstein, and I'm tired of Obama and all that, right? Just a day off. I'm sure I'll be talking about them constantly over the next few weeks. But a bitchin' ass story came up around this stupid show of all things. And V means victory, baby. V means victory. Now, maybe it's a temporary victory. We'll see. And I will show you at some point. I've got a story where I was going to show you my alternative thumbnail, but I considered it too clickbaity, and you'll see why when I get there, because it was actually kind of misleading, but still funny as hell. But to just one story. Anyway, this is also a single story. Let's get to it. I got a bunch of major stuff to talk about. We've got the music show coming up here in just under 3 hours, so doing good. Let's get it going. Well, I guess we'll start with this, the thumbnail. Donald Trump Jr. knocks The View after show goes on hiatus. They're doing one more live show. I think it was today that they were filming. Yeah, this came out yesterday. So one more live show Friday, today. And then they're off until September. We'll see. To give the show an entire month off is interesting. I can see them doing it. Ratings are kind of, in between and all that stuff. All said, their show sucks. And I'm not sure if they're regrouping, not sure what's going on. And are they CBS? I don't even know if are they CBS? Yes? No? Maybe so. What the hell are they? I don't know. It'd be interesting if, it was Disney, huh? Yeah, ABC. Oh, okay. So totally different situation. Obviously, all the CBS News and everything else. I was just curious. Anyway, that was, that's why I did the thumbnail. Whatever. We've got enough of the other stuff to talk about. A couple interesting facts just to bring up. Top employer in each state. So going back to 1990, the top employer for most states was manufacturing. There was a bunch of retail, and then there was one that was hospitality. All right. Currently, still hospitality, being Nevada, makes sense, right? And then they've added an additional state, right? And then we've got, what is that, Wyoming? I don't even know. That's so bad. But we've got today almost every state minus 10. Every state minus 10 is healthcare. That's their primary employer. The top employer is healthcare. That is frightening. Now, it looks like Hawaii is hospitality as well, which again makes sense, right? Very strange. How the hell does anyone want to go there? I gotta know. I gotta go. Also interesting, and this was put up by the Democrats, and then they took it down real quickly because a lot of people were pointing out something they weren't trying to make note of. They were saying, see, grocery prices are still going up, even with Trump in office. And everyone's like, yeah, but when you look at the graph, 2021 October, that was Joe Biden, and you can see that all the prices spiked when Biden was in office. And they're like, ooh, take that down. Oops, sorry, don't look here, nothing to see. Is that there's like a Western place I feel like it's out there in Wyoming. Drawing a blank on the name of it. I had friends that used to go there when I was younger. This is actually pretty interesting interview for a few reasons. First off, Todd Blanch is on there, and Tim Burchett. He's the one that says the dadgummit so much, that filthy potty mouth. I think he only says it once in this particular video. CNN keeps trying to steer him down the path of Trump bad guy, Trump bad guy, Trump bad guy. And Tim Burchett, he handles it gracefully, beautifully. They keep trying to take him there. He keeps coming back out. It was actually cool. And what he was talking about, if you can get past the fact that the CNN host is a pile of trash, it's actually interesting what he's saying. It's going to bump some people out, but meh.
He's been standing by patiently. Republican Congressman Tim Burchett of Tennessee, of course, a member of the House Oversight Government Reform Committee, and he has signed on to the bipartisan bill that would require the Attorney General to release all Justice Department documents that relate to Jeffrey Epstein. Congressman, thank you so much. We're going to do this one-on-one, but I figure you are an important player in this conversation overall. I'm sure you've been listening to us. What do you make of the fact that the government had this meeting with Gillan Maxwell today? Is the Trump administration handling this the right way?
I don't think this thing's been handled the right way from the very beginning. Biden administration's had it for 4 years. They didn't do anything. Now politics is in it. Everybody's pointing fingers. We're never going to get to the bottom of this thing, ma'am. This town covets its lies, and they take a lot of pride in them. We're not. I don't honestly, any information that comes out now, I think it always going to stand the test of being tainted. But I would, as I've talked to some attorneys, if Miss Maxwell were to perjure herself and she were to cut some deal, I don't know if that's even in the realm of possibility. But if she were to, she would immediately go back to her original sentence. But again, my biggest fear in all this is the innocent folks, the 1,000 or so innocent young ladies who are now adults, I assume, that were raped, and people that just flew on the plane unexpectedly that didn't have any clue that Epstein was the dirtbag that he was. So there's a lot of things I have a lot of concerns about. I just like to get to the guilty parties. I don't think he's all over the files because he knew the guy. And Palm Beach or wherever the heck that is, I've never been there. I've never been invited down to the president's pad down in Florida. It's a small knit little community. Yeah, he knew him. 15 years ago, though, it's pretty much documented that he banned him from Mar-a-Lago because he was a dirtbag. So, it's pretty obvious what's going on with both sides. I just want to get to the bottom of it, ma'am. I passed some of the toughest laws in the country when I was in the legislature. ICAC, Internet Crimes Against Children, distribution laws. I've sponsored chemical castration, death penalty for child molesters. As I've said many times, I've held the hand of many a person who's been abused, and they carry a life sentence. And dadgummit, it's time to say to those people, let's remove that stigma from their life. Let's go after the guilty, and let's protect the innocent.
Congressman, the president was told, according to our reporting, that his name was in the files. And to your point, his relationship, his friendship with Epstein, well documented, right? Plenty of pictures out there of the two of them together. He told reporters in July that he was not told that his name was in the files. Did he lie to the American people about that?
I have no earthly idea, ma'am. I'm not a part of those conversations.
Why do you think he would have? If he had been told, why would he say that he hadn't been?
I don't know that he had. I don't know. I wasn't in there, and I couldn't. I could just make assumptions, and that's all it would be. But he's never lied to me, so I don't have any reason to call him a liar. Until he does that, then I'll readdress it. But I would assume that he was telling the truth at the time.
What would you say?
And we're all dealing with what is hearsay. All this is hearsay anyway at this point.
Why do you think the president and his administration are dealing with this the way they are? Are they covering up for President Trump by refusing to release these files?
No, ma'am, I don't think so. I think you've got a situation. He tried to release the grand jury, and that was not done. I was hoping, I'm not an attorney, but I understand the secrecy of the grand jury, and people come in, and then you've got rumors and innuendos, things that aren't true that could be put out, could be harmful again to innocent people. But I was hoping at some point we were going to get to the point where maybe somebody in the legal community could filter out some of the good and throw out and let us know who the dirtbags were. And I'd like to know the chain of money and how this thing operated, and if in fact he was a foreign agent, I'd like to know what's on those files. I don't want to see any child pornography. So, frankly, that sickens me to my core. But I would like to see what's in those, and I have no earthly idea.
Right. Well, and
I know
President Trump campaigned on releasing these files, right? President Trump said that these files should come out, and if they're not covering up for him, why aren't they releasing them?
Let me address that. He was asked 2 different times on the campaign if he would release them. He also said he would release the UFO files, and the Kennedy files. And we're getting in the Martin Luther King. Now we're getting the Martin Luther King files. So it wasn't in any kind of printed material that I saw. It just was asked out on the campaign trail, and he said he would. So I don't feel like he's lying. But again, the Biden administration's had this for 4 years, and you know good and well if Donald Trump was in there, if he was implicated in any shape, form, or fashion, they would have released him the first day. And that's why the politics has entered into it. I just wish we could get back to taking care of the victims and going after the guilty. And I'm afraid we never will in this town because everybody's trying to cover their rears.
One thing we saw today was the president go to the Federal Reserve to try to draw attention there. Do you think the president is simply trying to distract from what's going on with Jeffrey Epstein? Because we also saw, of course, Tulsi Gabbard yesterday at the White House.
Sure. No, I remember Bill Clinton when he was getting in trouble with Monica Lewinsky and all that. He still had to function. He could compartmentalize, and he left office very popular. You still have a job to do.
I'm not sure I expected that
that's
comparison,
something he did
sir,
run
I'll
on.
be honest.
No, well, I'm just telling you, I study politics, and I don't admire Bill Clinton. I do admire his ability to compartmentalize, because when the world's crashing around you, he kept saying it's the economy, stupid, and it worked. And the truth is, President Trump did run on lowering interest rates, and he's had a running feud with this outfit. So with the Fed, a lot of people want to do away with the Fed. That's what I keep saying. Why are we spending 2 football fields or two mega stadiums on a Washington building that we're going to do away with? But in reality, we're not going to do away with the Fed. It needs some fine tuning. It's been a running feud with him. He's still got to be president, man. He's still got to deal with stuff overseas. He's still got tariffs. He's still got this economy that's busting at the seams right now. And so I think we need to. He still has to be president, and he can't just stop and focus on one thing. It's got a lot of. That's why the guy never sleeps. That's why I'll get a call from him at 3 a.m. All
right, Congressman Tim Burchett, thank you very much for joining us today. I really appreciate it.
You guys heard when he mentioned getting rid of the Fed, right? When we're not going to need the building, or maybe we're going to downsize again. That was a funny possible slip. Also, again, I think he's saying exactly what everyone is thinking, at least on our side of the fence, when it comes to these files, these Epstein files. And he's like, I was hoping there'd be an easy list of the bad guys and, what all we know, who was funding who, right? Like something. And we got nothing. And as he says, probably not going to get anything. Now, again, they probably put some crap files in there, and I'm sure this is why they're pushing so hard. Now, interestingly, we will get there in a second, but it's a little weird little thing we can blame the Democrats on now. It's very strange. Ghislaine Maxwell, or Gillan Maxwell, whatever. The meeting took place at the low-security federal prison in Florida. I've been saying she was in Guantanamo Bay. I think she was down there during the trial or whatever. But she's back. Just wanted to make sure I corrected that fallacy that I'd been pushing. But yeah, Maxwell's currently down in a low-security prison in Florida. I do not believe it's Alligator Alcatraz, though. That wouldn't be funny, but kind of. She's serving 20 years sentence. She met up with Todd Blanch, and they chit-chatted. I mean, we don't know a whole lot. From the former lawyer of Pam Bondi. Whoops, was this lawyer? Yeah, I think this was her lawyer. And she was just saying that Ms. Maxwell's lawyer was saying that every single question was answered. She never stopped. She never invoked a privilege. She never declined to answer. She answered all the questions truthfully, honestly, and to the best of her ability. So we're supposedly getting some good stuff. Former Epstein lawyer says Bondi probably jumped the gun a little bit. And I do think this might be true, too, that there was a presumption by many of us. I mean, I think even FBI's Kash Patel would speculate about it beforehand. And I think many of us have this built-up understanding of it, like Tim Burchett says, like, it's all hearsay. None of us have really any facts, other than the flight list that got leaked. Pretty sure that was legit. And outside of that, like, we don't have a lot. We've got all these people that have promised us. We've got people that have made stuff based off of connections to Ghislaine's father or Gillan's father, and here she is, still alive in jail. They didn't kill her. The loose end is who got killed. So she's going to serve her 20 years, and go back into working? Maybe. So, yeah, Pam Bondi might have jumped the gun. Oh, I got those files on my desk, right? Like, and she didn't have shit, and she didn't know. She hadn't looked at them. She assumed, like many of us. And so, yeah, whoops. Apparently, Maxwell was carrying a box. I don't think she had that box with her when she went. Maybe she did. I don't know, because they don't mention that anywhere. We don't have a picture of her going towards the meeting. But leaving the meeting, we understand she's got a box. We also understand that Todd Blanch is planning on meeting with her again tomorrow, assuming this was all today. Did they meet today? Yeah, 25th. Yeah, good. Sometimes I don't know what the heck day it was. Todd Blanch put this out today. I met with Gillan Maxwell, and I will continue my interview of her tomorrow. The Department of Justice will share additional information about what we've learned at the appropriate time. Dun, dun, dun. I mean, again, it's just meant to be a statement. We've talked to her and keeping it very chill and mellow, making everybody just nibble on their fingers, nibble them down to the nubs. Donald Trump truthed this out. The radical left Democrats are doing everything in their power to distract and obfuscate from our great 6 months of service to America, results of which many are saying is the best 6 months in presidential history. They have gone absolutely crazy and are playing another Russia hoax, but this time under the guise of what we call the Jeffrey Epstein scam. As things are revealed, and I hope will take place quickly, you will see that it is yet another Democrat con job. Hopefully, the grand jury files will put an end to this hoax. Everyone should see what is here, or there, I should say, but people who are innocent should not be hurt. Make America great again. Again, thus far, I don't think we're getting the grand jury files. We talked about that yesterday. Trump was talking about some of this and who some of the people that are probably on that list are.
Well, I don't want to talk about that. What I do want to say is that Todd is a great attorney, but you ought to be speaking about Larry Summers. You ought to be speaking about some of his friends that are hedge fund guys. They're all over the place. You ought to be speaking about Bill Clinton, who went to the island 28 times. I never went to the island.
Do you maintain you did not write a letter for Jeffrey Epstein's birthday?
I don't even know what they're talking about. Now, somebody could have written a letter and used my name, but that's happened a lot. All you have to do is take a look at the dossier, the fake dossier. Everything's fake with that administration. Everything's fake with the Democrats. Take a look at what they just found about the dossier. Everything is fake. They're a bunch of sick people. Where did you see the people laying outside?
Right across the street from Lafayette Park, sir.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Everyone's gonna keep asking. Everyone is, again, the one side's really pushing it hard right now, which is interesting. Senator Mullen just put this out. He said, I just asked for unanimous consent to pass an Epstein resolution calling for full transparency and all available files to be released. Senate Democrats objected on the floor. Liberal political theater, obviously, right? They don't want to deal with it. Now, I don't know if this is a legit vote that holds much water, but it is a step in the right direction. So again, these guys just want a lot of the show to happen. They're not actually willing to do what needs to be done. This screams of deep state and being pushed by the deep state that there's some stupid thing in there that everybody's going to try to run with. And that's going to be the noise they make. And again, I don't know. I would assume it's going to come out, whatever it is. If it's just the love letter, which is stupid. I mean, he drew boobs on it or whatever. I mean, okay. I doubt it. I mean, there are stories that are true. The grab her by the P word. I mean, that was, Trump said that. I mean, that's, which kind of guy locker room talk. I mean, we've said things like that before, I'm sure. Some of us anyways. Hey, I want to remind you guys the Giza sheets, man. My Pillow, they're going away Sunday. Done. Slipper, no, the Percales or the other one's going away Sunday. Gone. No more. Can't get this bitch in 29.88, any size, any color. Giza sheet, high thread count, super nice, deep pockets, really nice sheets. $49.98, any size. Any of you guys got the bigger beds? If you don't already have Giza sheets, you're missing out on an opportunity of a lifetime because they're normally about $130 when they're on sale. 110? No, I think it's 130, he said. $49.98, that's how much they cost. No shipping thrown in, but that's not that much. Anything over $100, you're going to get yourself $100 in free digital coupons. Actually, over $75, I should say. And they're going to kick in the $100 of free digital coupons. So again, you've got, 2 sets of sheets. You're pretty much there. Plus, get the spray or get these dish towels. Are incredible. Try I don't know if that would work, if that counts, because you're getting it free. You just have to pay shipping. But you can get the free 3-pack and try the energy drink. Oh, my God, it's good. So good. So delicious. Beach towels are fantastic. 50% off. I've actually bought these. I think I got like 3 of them in case my nieces or nephews ever come over or whatever. So I got some towels just in case, right? Again, Percale sheets going away Sunday. Done. Bye-bye. And they're going to go back up to, what are they? Normally $39.98 or, I don't know, $49. So I don't know. Higher for sure. These are usually much more. In fact, it's $67 for twins is where those started at the normal sale. And like I said, up to $130 for the Giza. Again, and these slippers are going to go away fast. This is the best price you're going to see all year, probably even ever going forward, because it's just a great deal. They're cutting out this line. They're incredibly nice. They can reach it. That didn't go well, obviously, but I reached it. Oh, and my camera's not even on. So you guys, that was cool. We didn't see any antics per se, but There you go. Look at that. That thing shoe is awesome. It's literally awesome sole. He said it was made from some sort of soybean husks or something crazy. Like, I don't even know. There's some sort of technology going on with it. That's fantastic. You want to go to mypillow.com/OTF. Mypillow.com/OTF. Mike gives us some sweet deals. We're friends of MyPillow, I would say. I've actually got his phone number. I've not really tried to text him. Just like, what are you wearing? So I haven't tried it yet, but, who knows? Enough alcohol's involved. That mustache, I don't know, man. Gotta love that mustache. All said, mypillow.com/OTF. mypillow.com/OTF. And, of course, get the best night of sleep you've ever had. Yeah, help the channel out at the same time. And Mike with his legal stuff. Trump is tackling homelessness. He signed an executive order to end widespread street homelessness, calling on states to move vagrants, addicts, and the mentally ill into treatment centers. Just basically trying to say end crime and disorder on American streets in this executive order, redirecting federal funding to prioritize institutional care, including substance abuse facilities, civil commitment, and long-term facilities. I mean, it's like an idea. It's like a structure. I don't know how it's enforceable, but ultimately we do need to deal with it. And this would be something, if I was paying some taxes and they were lower than what they are right now, and I actually noticed that the streets were being paved and, stuff worked in general, and we saw less homelessness, that would be fantastic. That would be fan-friggin-tastic. We'll see how it plays out. Homelessness is a very complicated problem, but it is that, All right, so this was part of the story I wanted to do, with the thumbnail, I should say, because, and this, like I said, this was clickbait. Right, so keep out the trash. Just keep in mind, this is where this trash starts to come into play. And then Mexico makes a deal. See, clickbait, total clickbait, right? They do, though, to keep out the trash, just not those three. That was where I was misleading. It was very misleading. But again, that wasn't my thumbnail, so it's okay. I made it because I thought it was funny. And yeah, so anyway, I consider her trash. Democrat LA mayor took money from bankers with Chinese intel ties, then she hires them. Literally. She's got a transaction advisory team, included Dominic Eng and CEO of East West Bank, Simon Pang, co-founder of Royal Business Bank. Both men have ties to Chinese intelligence and have fundraisers for Bass and nonprofits that she advises. And by the way, I did pronounce that correctly. I looked it up. Eng. Very, very. That's what I thought it was when I saw it, but I'm like, I trust myself. Zero. Yeah, Eng and Pang. I just say I don't make the stories up. Sometimes I just make sure they make it past cut. Eng and Pang, who collectively donated over $1 million to Bass's mayoral campaign and the Mayor Fund for Los Angeles. Eng and Pang have also been linked to the Chinese Communist Party United Front Work Department, an influence and intelligence arm of the Chinese government. So, yeah, Eng and Pang are right up inside her thing. You know what I mean? Zelensky backtracks after gutting anti-corruption bodies. So we talked about how he gutted them, and then a lot of people were pretty pissed off at him for it and went to the presidential palace, even though he's probably never there. And they're like, oh, with their version of pitchforks. And so he changed it. He went less dictator, a little bit less dictator. After he went full dictator, he went, all right, I'll pull back on the dictator. So Thursday, he pulled this bill back, I guess. Yay for him. Major banking CEO subpoenaed for allegedly backing CCP military tech. Do we want to? No, yeah, I can just read this one. The CEO of JP Morgan and Bank of America are under scrutiny for their role in backing a Chinese military tech giant. The U.S. House of Representatives Select Committee on the Chinese Communist Party said on Thursday that it sent subpoenas addressed to JP Morgan Chase CEO Jamie Dimon and Bank of America CEO Brian Moynihan over their bank's roles in underwriting the initial public offering of Chinese battery manufacturer CATL. Interestingly, the committee says this company directly poses U.S. investor and national security risks because it's active in a sector explicitly targeted by China's state-driven military civil fusion policy, essentially something the military in China is directly using, and it's allowed to trade on our stock market. And and these guys underwrote it. So yeah, that's probably bad. And this is how we're starting to put an end to things. AOC, you guys remember when she wore that stupid I tax the rich dress? Well, she did, in fact, get busted and has to pay the $2,700 for the gown. Again, she's smuggling money probably anyways. I'm just kidding. She's probably smuggling money. But yeah, $1,000 for goodies. You're not allowed to get free stuff like that. She knew it. She flaunted it. She even wore it in a picture, which is pretty crazy, and went with her boyfriend, which makes it all that much more fun. And she, got her headlines for it, so good on her. It made her popular, but yeah, so it's going to cost her $2,700. I'm sure it was way worth it, frankly. Would have paid 100 times that probably for the amount of exposure she got for doing that. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick says, literally, TikTok is going to go dark unless China agrees to the U.S. control. U.S. must take control of the algorithm and the actual technology stack for the most part, right? They can still have connection to it if they want and be part owner or something, but it will be our algorithm and it will be our technology, because right before the election, we know for fact TikTok's going to be used against us. Communists, hardcore. Its algorithm is communistic. Again, if you like TikTok, sorry. You're helping program you're helping program the Chinese AI. I mean, that's all I can say. I don't want to be a part of that. I don't want it to learn me, that's for sure. It can try to study me and other stuff, but it doesn't have the same back-end abilities that TikTok gives. And people put it on their phone. Oh my God, I don't have any of those apps on my phone. Hell no. Trump's big beautiful bill forces 5 Planned Parenthood clinics to close in Northern California. I mean, he's crying about it, but sweet. Shut down 5 of those stupid-ass facilities. Fantastic. The U.S. Department of Agriculture will move most of its Washington, D.C. employees out of the Capitol and closer to farmers, ranchers, and producers. They're going to split them out into like 5 hubs, get them out of the D.C. area. And what's weird in this article is there's like a butt ton of buildings that they seem to be involved with. Brooke Rawlings, the Agriculture Secretary, has made this announcement. They are hoping to cut the Thursday. They said they noted that the USDA's workforce increased by 8% over the last 4 years, with salaries raised by 14.5%, hiring thousands of employees with no sustainable way to pay them. This all occurred without any tangible increase in service to USDA's core constituencies across the agricultural sector. USDA's footprint in the National Capital Region is underutilized and redundant, plagued by rampant overspending and decades of mismanagement and costly deferred maintenance. They're taking in this budget, but they're not doing anything with it other than shoving it in people's pockets. They're not fixing buildings. They're not actually helping farmers or whatever the hell they're supposed to be doing. Department has 4,600 employees at Capital Region, but it's looking to keep no more than 2,000, meaning about 2,600 of them are going to get separated out into these regional areas. They'll live closer, and some of it's because salaries in D.C. are typically pretty high compared to other parts of the nation. Here is the Mexico's deal to take the trash or keep the trash out. Again, clickbait. But a good story nonetheless. Trump administration has secured an agreement with Mexico to ensure a solution to the decades-long Tijuana River sewage crisis, with Environmental Protection Agency Administrator Lee Zeldin calling it a massive environmental and national security win. If they do it. But they signed a contract. Zeldin met with his Mexican counterpart, Alicia Barcena, in Mexico City on Thursday to sign a memorandum of understanding, a MOU, between the countries. A memorandum of understanding. It doesn't sound very binding. I mean, it probably legally is binding. It just doesn't sound like it's going to change anything anytime soon. Whatever. The city of Tijuana's sewage pollution crisis has been forcing San Diego beaches closed and making Americans sick for years as the mismanagement grew worse, Breitbart News has reported. So anyway, they signed an MOA. Haba is set to remain the federal top prosecutor in Jersey despite the ouster by judges. So we talked about this yesterday. The judges said, no, you're out, even though she wasn't at her 120 days yet. And then they replaced her with her number one person, who is definitely deep state. She's worked for both administrations. I'm nonpartisan. She says all the stupid stuff. So, yeah, she's definitely deep state. 100% guarantee. And Pam Bondi fired her or moved her permanently, immediately after that happened. And we've still got, Alina Haba still staying in there. She's like, yeah, okay, whatever. I thought we had it. Maybe it's in here. I guess it's down here. She said somewhere, I've survived on, no, that was her, this is the chick that took over. Where's Alina's comments? Something to the effect of, I'm not stepping down. Yeah, here it is. She goes, Donald Trump is the 47th president, Pam Bondi is the attorney general, and I am now the acting United States attorney for the District of New Jersey. I don't cower to pressure. I don't answer to politics. This is a fight for justice, and I'm all in. So she's still there, even though the judges tried to fire her. This should get interesting. This should get really interesting. I'm telling you, I'm loving it. I mean, calling it a movie is sort of unfair. Stephen Miller's talking about the true number of missing migrants and children, essentially, and what we're trying to do. But this was all happening, and this was okay, and nobody seemed to know about this stuff. At least this has finally stopped because they can't move people across the border like this anymore.
The Democrat Party is completely radicalized. They're a party of extremists. They're committed to the rights of illegal aliens over the very lives of American citizens. So, of course, we know and we understand that Democrats want to flood the country with illegals because it gives them extra congressional seats. It changes apportionment. It expands their political power under birthright citizenship. All their kids become automatic citizens. So all of these things Democrats believe will increase their political power, grow the welfare state, grow dependency, strengthen, for example, the power of the teachers union because millions of illegal aliens are getting free education in public schools. So we understand all of these things. But I think at a deeper level, at a much deeper level, Sean, they hate America. At least they hate America as you and I know it, the America that our founders gave us, and they want to end that America and create a new communist hellhole, and they believe open borders is the way to get there. We now believe the true number of missing children that Joe Biden trafficked into the country, the Democrats trafficked into the country, is 450,000, not 320, wow. 450. The Democrats have committed crimes for which they can never be forgiven, Sean, and Donald Trump is cleaning it up. Donald Trump is cleaning it up right now.
I don't know if I could ever be as good as these guys. Like, I am so, like, Stephen Miller is amazing. And he's like, you know why? Because I hate America. Like, I feel like no matter what, like, this dude's a rock star. He's like, you know what, Sean? It's because they hate your mom. You know, like, he's always got that, like, emotional, like, thing. And that's the magic. I consider it manipulation, personally. Maybe it is just more, I don't know. It's manipulation is what it is. And it bugs the shizzle out of me. Not at him personally. It needs to be done. And he's on Fox, so you deserve it if you're watching it. But still, weird. And they hate your mom. And your sister. I don't know, whatever. Trump invites retired Border Patrol agent to answer call once more. All the people that retired early, stepped out because of Biden, were frustrated, right? Shat upon, if you will. Is it technically cussing if I say it in the past tense like that? I mean, I don't know. I wonder how many people know that is the past tense of. So the Trump administration's asking recently retired Border Patrol agents to answer the call once more and return to active service. We need them. I think we need them for the North now, probably. I'm not sure. We've done a pretty good job on the South border, right? But continuing to build walls and everything else. But yeah, Trump is serious about fixing the border problem for sure. Judges ordered Kilar Obago Garcia released from federal custody. Word on the street is dude's going to get picked up by ICE when he's released. That's why they've kept him in jail an abnormally long time. All ICE has to do is hold on to him for 72 hours, and they can ship him to a third-party country. We had the judge order saying they can't send him to El Salvador, which is fine. We'll send him to South Africa or Africa. There's some place in Africa that is allowing us to do it. I don't think it's South Africa, but it's someplace there. And there's probably a couple other places as well. So, okay, we'll go somewhere else. Thank you very much. And so all they got to do, again, 72 hours. That's it. Once he's been given 72 hours to fight his extradition for whatever reasons, then that's it, and you're out. If he is truly part of MS-13, they have any proof that he's been doing any of that kind of stuff, and if the trafficking charges are in fact true in Tennessee, which is sad that he's been trafficking people, and they let him out on bail, basically. You know, because he's surely not going to do the same thing he's busted for doing, right? Make money, Guy's got to pay his legal bills, doesn't he? Trump's Justice Department sues New York City for protecting illegal aliens with sanctuary policies. They're going after New York City, specifically Mayor Eric Adams. This is fantastic because what I feel like this is, especially for any of you that watch my Law of One crap, this is like the catalyst. This is a thing that's going to allow Eric Adams to approach the city council, hopefully, and try to start working that angle because it needs to happen. People are tired of it. New Yorkers, too. Even people in, New York City proper. So this, I think, might actually have an interesting effect. We'll see how it plays out, of course. You know how the media is going to spin it, but that doesn't matter as much anymore. A lot of people freak out about that, but they are losing influence every single day. They lose influence. So the influence they had even half a year ago was suck. And it's significantly worse right now. So I don't worry about them at all. Apparently, DHS has started flying immigrants from Alligator Alcatraz. Yeah, there's a runway there. Planes just pull right up pretty much. And they're like, get the guys out. I think they'd probably bust them over or something, but, And then they hop them in there. I assume it's like Con Air. And they got the one guy that's got the mask on his face, right? And they play that weird music when he comes around. Anyway, good movie. I don't know if you guys are Nicolas Cage fans. It's like kind of a love him or hate him. Some people really don't like him. Some people, yeah, I like him. He's cool. Gone in 60 Seconds. Another pretty good movie. Democrats plan August Blitz to campaign against GOP spending bill. So far, in the movie we've been watching, right, if you will, so far everything the Democrats do is always like dumb wrong. Doesn't work. And the thing that they're trying to say sucks is just like looks like it's really good, like tariffs, and tariffs seem to be doing a good thing right now. He's been able to get rid of some taxation to the people. He's even talking about actually kicking some money back. Crazy, we'll get there. So tariffs didn't seem to raise prices like they said they would. They were trying to play that card on that Democrat slide I played earlier, but then or showed earlier, and then it kind of demonstrated that Biden's the reason for the frickin' high prices to begin with, and the small little increase you're pointing out compared to Biden's increase is negligible, isn't it? Huh. So, yeah, they're going to plan this crazy August Blitz. Blitz is fast, and then they got a picture of Hakeem Jeffries. There's just nothing about that dude that's fast, man. Ah, man. The thing I was going to say was horrible, so... Bondi forms Strike Force. News at 11. She's going to investigate Gabbard's disclosures on Russia collusion hoax. I mean, you got to make it cool like this. I mean, most of us that are awake just want the frickin' stuff to happen, but we understand, hopefully, if not, I'm helping remind you, we need to understand that this is playing out to raise people's awareness, to get people, whether they're pissed about it, not pissed about it, whether they watch mainstream media, it won't matter because they're going to hear about it. And now we've got mainstream media talking about Epstein anyway. So trust us, we'll get it down their road. And by the way, we've even got Clapper was on one of those stupid shows, CNN probably. I don't know. I think it was that little brunette chick that I just we'll get there. Yeah, so she's got a strike force, right? So again, this has got to play out in the way it's got to play out. Rep. James Comer posted, I commend Representative Robert Garcia for being bipartisan in one of his first official acts as ranking member of the Oversight Committee by voting to subpoena Bill and Hillary Clinton, James Comey, Loretta Lynch, Eric Holder, Merrick Garland, Robert Mueller, William Barr, Jeff Sessions, and Alberto Gonzalez. And frickin' add Santa Claus while you're at it. The Oversight Committee is preparing subpoenas for these individuals and the Epstein files, and will obviously issue them in the near future. Very cool. Very cool. I mean, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Here's Clapper on CNN. Ooh, clap on, and we're going to clap your ass off now, buddy. Clapper's like, right? Hey, hopefully, if it was that easy and it didn't harm anyone else, would I use that power? I'll think about it.
When the director says that she's referred these filings to the Justice Department for a criminal investigation, tonight we're told they formed what is called a strike force. Do you have concerns that they will attempt to prosecute you?
Well, certainly I do. after 8.5 years of this, and I don't know of an intelligence product that was more scrutinized, more investigated than that product was by numerous people. It's very disconcerting. It really is. And I take seriously when the President of the United States accuses me of being a participant in a treasonous conspiracy, which is ridiculous.
Yeah, what's your reaction to that?
It's ridiculous. It is untrue.
So what will you do if they come after you? What is your plan?
Well, I'll lawyer up, I suppose. Already have.
You've already hired attorneys in anticipation that this Trump Justice Department could try to prosecute you.
We've had sort of perpetual attorneys since I left the government in 2017.
And he's probably got to make sure he doesn't say anything publicly because he's trying to clear his name, but, probably won't work nearly as well as they want. FCC approved an $8 billion Paramount Skydance merger. There's a lot of people that are trying to say this has to do. The one commissioner that voted against it, who's a Biden appointee, said that she voted against it because this looked like it was a quid pro quo. I'll say the words. They didn't actually put that in the article, but basically the payoff to CBS and then now all of a sudden to Trump, which it should have been more than that anyway. And they're calling that, like they made a deal, essentially, which I don't think so, because it's going to the presidential library. It's not going to Trump's pocket, so I don't think that's a fair or even spin on it, frankly, from the facts anyways. It's not going into Trump's pocket, which it should, because he had to pay for his legal fees out of his pocket. But meh. Dude, oh man, I am, digging this. I was actually talking to the elderly gentleman at the gym about the Parasite Cleanse. It makes such a difference. He was talking about bloating. My girlfriend was talking about it with her, which I don't know. I mean, she's weird about what she'll take pills for. It's really funny, but it is what it is. Parasites are a weird thing that are definitely, I think a lot of us are starting to learn a lot about them. The ivermectin mebendazole, when you go into the shop tab, you got to first go to twc.health/OTF. TWC, the wellness company. Doctors are actually doing this. It's actually a prescription. It's completely legal. You actually, yeah, you've got that too. There's memberships. You can actually get doctor virtual care stuff. You got prescriptions, wellness plans. They've got a lot of really, really cool stuff. So again, if you're somebody that's in you're aging a bit and you don't necessarily want to play the games like everybody else, this is a really good site that goes out of their way to get quality ingredients, great prices, and in some cases, outrageously powerful combinations. The Contagion Emergency Kit, I can't talk enough of. It's antiviral all the way. The Medical Emergency Kit's got a lot of antibiotics. It's also got a little bit of antiviral in it as well. It's a really cool kit. There's a bunch of these kits that are good to have because you just never know what's going to accidentally release from a wet market someplace. Wink, wink, right? So ivermectin, mebendazole is a powerful antiparasitic. And it is awesome. Literally, like I don't know, 2 weeks in, I think now. I've told you guys some of the things I've seen. I've literally got this spot that's going away. It's just going away. I'm loving it. And just feeling better in general. Actually feels like I'm digesting food differently and quicker and better. And anyway, it's just, I think sometimes when you finally have a chance to really see your body as it starts to kick these things out, and then you start to experience the changes of that, you'll trip on that a bit. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if I got more coming in that regard. Still got a little ways to go, but yeah, it's a trip. That's all I can say. I mean, in a cool way, a very, very cool way, but it makes you really go, damn, I had something going on inside of me for sure. And how severe that is, and how, there's also like wanting to maybe like go like a week of just total clean, nothing, right? Just water, diet, basically, and food. But then just have that going on, because there's a part of me that thinks that there's maybe some things are being kept alive a little bit with the drinking or something like that. But again, let your body sort of show you. and you'll I think be guided beautifully. But this is such a good product. And again, there's other good stuff that when it comes to their products, longevity, anti-aging stuff, they've got really good product there. Appetite, weight loss, right? You're trying to lose some weight. They've got amazing products there. A bunch, actually. There are 3 really popular ones that people are using. Metformin, Drop, and Appetite are 3 very powerful things. And this is actually a different advertiser. Very good, though. It's the one I like from them. Really, really good. I haven't actually tried theirs, and I'm not really trying to lose weight. I can usually generally do that just by not drinking for 2 days, and I'll lose like 5-6 pounds and be like, all right, I'm where I want to be. Recharge Methylene Blue. They got that. So again, just really good stuff, guys. Really good stuff. Oh, and hair stuff too. And gum support. Oh, very cool. So again, twc.health/OTF. twc.health/OTF. Of course, helping the channel, but also most importantly, helping your health. They don't like that, but you will do well. JP Vance gets a little pissed off at Microsoft for firing people only to replace them with people with visas from his wife's country in most cases, which is interesting.
A massive shortage of these jobs. And by the way, you see some big tech companies where they'll lay off 9,000 workers and then they'll apply for a bunch of overseas visas. And I sort of wonder, that doesn't totally make sense to me.
The math doesn't.
That displacement and that math worries me a bit. And what the president has said, he said very clearly, we want the very best and the brightest to make America their home. We want them to build great companies and so forth. But I don't want companies to fire 9,000 American workers and then to go and say, we can't find workers here in America. That's a bullshit story.
What did Microsoft say when you brought that up with Microsoft? Have you talked to them about it?
I have not. I just became aware of this a couple weeks ago. Somebody sent me an article about this, and they said, well, and it maybe was Microsoft.
It was Microsoft.
That fired, I think, 9,000 people. Right. And then I was like, wait a second.
Record profits, record market cap.
But also saying they're desperate for workers. So I have not yet had that conversation with Microsoft. In my defense, I just found out.
I will have a conversation.
Yeah, that's. I mean, it's what they've been doing. This is common, and yeah, it's got to change. Powell's Plunge. New home sales down 6.6 from a year ago. Again, it's because of interest rates. Trump's obviously pushing on that. I think we've got a couple videos here of Trump interacting with Powell. And this was kind of a funny one. I guess Powell comes back after, by the way, I'm going to spoil alert a little, after Trump hands him the letter. And I think he says something like, well, this isn't new or something like that, which might explain the change. But again, still Trump, and showing, I think, that Powell and Trump both know what they're talking about, especially when it comes to construction. Trump knows what he's talking about anyways.
Well, thank you very much. We're looking at the construction. And we're with the chairman, as you know. Chairman, come on over. And we're just taking a look at what's happening. It's a tough construction job. They're building basements where they didn't exist or expanding them, and a lot of very expensive work. There's no question about it. And Tim has been with me for a long time, and you're in charge of the committee.
Indeed. One of the reasons why I wanted to see it was the overruns of the expenses, wanted to figure out why.
So we're taking a look, and it looks like it's about 3.1 billion. It went up a little bit, or a lot. So the 2.7 is now 3.1.
I'm not aware of that.
Yeah, it just came out.
Yeah, I haven't heard that from anybody at the Fed.
Yeah, it just came out.
I noticed that at about 3.1 as well.
3.1,
3.2.
So again, supposedly Powell says afterwards, there's a bunch more stuff, and I'm not trying to be a dick to Powell by not playing it. It's just, it was all over the place, and I didn't want to stream a bunch of crap together. But Powell basically says this isn't new or something. He points to something, and so maybe whatever. Again, I'm not trying to give credit, but Trump actually had a really, really kind words to say. We'll play this last part, I think, here too.
It looks like it's got a long way to go.
Yes, sir.
So.
President, are there things the chairman can say to you today that would make you back off some of the earlier criticism?
Well, I'd love him to lower interest rates. But other than that, what can I tell you? The country's doing really well. I just briefed the chairman on the deal we made with Japan. Japan is putting up $550 billion in order to lower their tariffs a little bit. That way they have a little bit lower tariff.
So, yeah, things are moving in the proper direction. Now, Trump, 5 takeaways, I guess, that people have kind of talked about. Trump is backing off the pressure on Powell, which he literally is. Trump says, no tension with Powell and I, we're cool. Trump is the one who initially appointed him. And so Trump's just pissed because it's costing us literally $1 trillion a year in interest. If we can refi at a lower interest rate, we could instantly make awesome numbers for Trump to sell before the election happens. Maybe that's part of why Powell doesn't want to, because he is probably a little more deep statey than any of us want, but it is what it is. Trump says Fed renovation's not fireable. Yeah, can't fire him for that, so everybody out there. I mean, he lied to Congress about it. If that got pushed forward and then he was busted for it, sure, but maybe not. Powell pushes back on price tag, which I talked about that. Trump insists interest rates are not the issue. Trump says that interest rates are the issue, not the renovations. And there we go. That's, I think, all of that stuff. President Trump's talking about tariffs here.
Mr. President, with all of that revenue coming in tens and tens of billions of dollars, do you think there's the possibility of a rebate to the American public in terms of all of that money?
We're thinking about that, actually. We have so much money coming in. We're thinking about a little rebate, but the big thing we want to do is pay down debt. But we're thinking about a rebate. That's a very good question. You just made a lot of news. We're thinking about a rebate because we have so much money coming in from tariffs that a little rebate for people of a certain income level might be very nice.
So that's cool, right? We like that. Rebates to everybody. Senator Hawley said, all right, let's do it. Let's run with this. I will introduce legislation in the Senate to send a rebate check to every working person in America. All right. Capitalist, taking advantage of an opportunity. Will that possibly go all the way through both houses? I doubt it, but maybe. Who knows? Who knows? Gold down a teeny bit, 33.40, just under that magic marker. That's okay. No worries. I think the stock market's so weird right now. Like, nothing makes sense anymore. I don't think anybody knows what the hell's going on. It is what it is. Let's see. I'm just curious what silver is real quick. 38.39. Nice. It's hovering high. The expectation, and it's been from a number of people that kind of sort of more in the know, I would think. Silver, they're expecting to hit 50. And then higher down the road even further. But yeah, there's it sounds like going to be some stuff that is going to hurt the dollar a little bit or whatever, help other countries establish their own standing, maybe. As we're seeing in Europe right now, Europe's going through a really tough time, especially the way they're trying to do it as a communist bloc, essentially, like this United Nations, maybe kind of a version of the United States, but their budgets are extraordinary, and they're, pissing off a lot of the members. Hungary's opposing this turning EU's budget into Ukraine's. And they are. They're giving a really large amount of money over to Ukraine, who's not even a member of Europe. Maybe they'd like to bring them in, but why do we got to pay for it all? They're also not a NATO member. So there's a lot of things about this. They're just like, people are like, why are we paying for this? Why do we have to? Hello? So Deep State is having some hard times. And here's another example of it, by the way. Maya Sandu, she's going to be the darling of Brussels, I guess. She's photogenic, Western-educated, fluent in the language of reform, and fames herself as a stalwart defender of democracy. Here it comes. But behind this polished facade lies something far more sinister, an autocrat in liberal clothing. Yeah, she wants to pretty much dismantle the very principles the European Union claims to uphold. She wants to be kind of a dictator. Should be very interesting. She's part of Moldova. Their electoral commission or whatever, effectively barred not just from winning, but from even participating. Like, she kicked someone out, like her competition's not even allowed to run. Now, we're seeing a bunch of that happen all over the place, too, so it's pretty cool. Ursula von der Leyen, she said, following a good call with POTUS, we have agreed to meet in Scotland on Sunday to discuss transatlantic trade relations and how to keep them strong. You know, funny Saturday Night Live bit, maybe. I don't know if it'd be funny. It just seems funny in my head. But you have Ursula talking like German, and then Trump talking English, and then like some Irish person, or Scottish person, which is even worse, a Scottish person in the middle that's translating. Like, I think that would be very funny. And just speaking Scottish, or whatever that version of English and Scottish, it'd be hard as hell to understand. And then like they'd both just be like, oh yeah, totally, okay, that makes sense. Okay, and then respond back. I think it'd be a funny bit. I'm just saying. Someone wants to steal that, feel free. UK could easily stab U.S. in the back, Putin aide says. So this whole ceasefire thing, they're trying to work with Ukraine. There's word, and this is what he's suggesting, that there's word on the street that London's thinking about creating a false flag and then blaming Russia in order to try to escalate things. Now, my guess is, especially if London does it, there's no way it's going to get support here in the United States. We own our information far too closely. What they can censor and not censor in the European side of things, it's a little more up in the air. England certainly does not have free speech by any stretch. They'll say they do, and they'll even try to say they have more free speech than us, which is definitely not true. We don't have full free speech. That's definitely true. Also, but no. Yeah, England's a mess over there. America's top ally in Southeast Asia is on the brink of an all-out war with its China-backed neighbor. Now, this is interesting. Thailand's very set up, man. Militarily, they are hands down way, way over. They're our friends. Cambodia, that's China's buddies, and they don't have nearly as many weapons. They don't have nearly as many people. They don't have nearly as many anything. They don't even have any fighter jets, actually. Now, is China probably looking to get some sort of deal with them? Possibly. Or what it seems like, because there's a couple things they have that China's given them, but they're reasonably old. What this looks like is maybe this was sort of a precursor attack, knowing that China was going to come in with support and try to see if they could stir up something over in this area, or it's us orchestrating a tactic to cause China to have to deal with this other thing, and they don't want to right now because they want to focus on Taiwan, most likely. So this, I think, kind of hints that there's maybe thoughts of Taiwan getting really close to happening, and this is like an attempt to screw with that. We'll see, because China, they're not real used to fighting these kinds of wars. Like, the U.S. is pretty experienced at fighting multi-wars simultaneously. China is not, they're newer to it. They've been practicing this a bunch. Thailand's warning the border crisis with Cambodia could escalate into a larger war. The M48 tank, which is what they've got, is not impressive. It's 1952, I believe, the original M48 came out. It replaced the Sherman, a World War II tank. I mean, it's not a pile of crap, but it's old as hell. Any sort of current tank that we might have could hit this thing from a range probably 3 times at least what this thing could hit them. Like, literally, they could just drive and sit on a hill and wait for them to come to them. It's like, just pling them off. This guy, before he could ever even get close to even hitting the tanks, let alone actually doing damage, they have to get way close. So they're crap. But the funny part is Cambodia doesn't even have those. I'd like to stop doing that, but it's my fault for clicking on it in any way, shape, or form. So these deadly border clashes are interesting. We've got Vietnam in the area as well. We got Myanmar kind of up like northwest. So it's an interesting part of the world, to say the least. And they're saying the root cause of this issue lies in the lingering consequences left by Western colonists, the way we've drawn maps. And so now it needs to be dealt with. Much like the Israel-Palestine thing, much like there's so many things in this world. So this also very much seems like something that's needing to resolve itself because of the damage that the Western world has done, just by arbitrarily owning things and rewriting maps and stuff. More than 100,000 displaced in this whole Thailand-Cambodia thing with the attacks that have happened. 100,000. I don't know exactly where they're going to go. They can't exactly run to Europe. We'll see, though. So a lot of crazy going on. I think we wanted to play this one. Yeah, China's military purge. This is very interesting. Something's going on with Xi, and he seems to be losing power. And both of my girls are in this. You're only going to see one of them, Tiffany Meyer, my girl. Boy, don't make me choose. Don't make me choose. Neither one of these ladies are probably ever going to talk to me. So, Tiffany, and then the girl that she introduces, what's her name? It's in here somewhere. She's the other one. Yeah, Flora Hua. I'm sure I said it wrong too. Probably pisses her off. That said, doesn't matter. China's doing something weird. The Communist Chinese Party is shifting away from Xi. I don't know if it's going good, if it's going bad. Don't know. I don't know if CCP is losing power and Xi's maybe gaining elsewhere, but he's losing power in the CCP. What that exactly means seems to be, I don't know, left to our imaginations. All said, here's some really good reporting by Tiffany and my good friend Hua.
Chinese military may be headed for major changes. The country's top military leadership recently issued new regulations targeting officials involved in political work. Many of these officials are closely tied to Chinese leader Xi Jinping's inner circle. To break down Beijing's latest move and what it means for U.S. policy on China, NTD's Flora Hua spoke with two China analysts. Here's a closer look.
China's military newspaper published a new regulation on Monday, calling on political personnel to strictly obey the regime's discipline. It also announced plans to eradicate poisonous influences, a phrase the Chinese Communist Party often uses to signal large-scale internal purges. But this time, the focus is on a specific group within China's military political apparatus.
This new regulation is essentially a major political purge targeting Mao Hua and, by extension, Xi Jinping's control over the military's political apparatus.
Since last year, many officials seen as Xi's loyalists have been sacked or vanished from public view. Mao Hua, a senior Chinese military leader promoted by Xi, helped install many of Xi's loyalists within China's forces. He himself was purged late last year. Besides Miao, He Weidong, the Chinese military's third-in-command and Xi's choice to lead a potential Taiwan invasion, has disappeared from public view for 4 months. Both men were deeply involved in political affairs. Veteran China analyst Tang Jingyuan says this new regulation targets those promoted by the two, part of what's known as Xi's faction.
The scale of the purge could be vast, potentially involving a large number of senior officers in the Chinese military. It could trigger major upheaval within the military itself and may even have a significant impact on the broader political landscape of the Chinese Communist Party.
Joshua Phillip, senior investigative reporter from our sister media outlet, The Epoch Times, echoed Tang's view.
The Chinese military, a rival faction, looks like it purged all the main loyalists of Xi Jinping. The new regulations clear the way for more purges just like that.
President Trump has shifted U.S. military focus to the Indo-Pacific, with China as the primary concern. So how might the shakeup inside China's military impact Washington's approach?
I would say the Chinese Communist Party is more dangerous to the outside world than it ever has been, ever. And the reason is this. Even with the economy suffering, that does not affect the budget of the PLA, the People's Liberation Army. Even with the power struggles taking place, even with Xi Jinping losing some power, they might be even more likely to do something drastic. You know, the Chinese Communist Party is the problem, not necessarily the leader.
More details on the purges could emerge during two upcoming gatherings in China. The CCP Politburo meeting expected next week and the Beidaihe meeting, a discrete session where veteran and current party leaders discuss key issues. The Beidaihe meeting is expected to take place next month. Flora Hua, NTD News.
Bye, Flora. I'll miss you. So they do talk about it, actually, and it's kind of a big deal. And what it does sound like, because this is why I kind of like these guys. In one, bringing on, what's his name? Joshua Joshua Phillip from Epoch Times. Dude's brilliant. These guys are heavily Chinese, but they're like, pro Falun Gong. They're American. They escaped the communist regime. What it does sound like is that the Communist Chinese Party is essentially being bled dry, kind of like we're doing, though they're a little more in control of everything publicly, because that's what it's about there. So it's a different kind of culture, and they are losing power. And so they might lash out and try to do something crazy, but it's how much actual military equipment they've got access to or control of. Again, there's the People's Liberation Army, and then there's the CCP. So this is a very interesting time, is all we can say. That's why one of the primary reasons I like NTD News, not because of Tiffany Meyer and lovely Ms. Hua, but it's they help a lot for me, anyways. You know, you got to look at this stuff every day. You might as well enjoy it, right? Hamas didn't want to make a ceasefire deal. Donald Trump's talking about that.
Gaza, they pulled out of Gaza. They pulled out in terms of negotiating. It was too bad. Hamas didn't really want to make a deal. I think they want to die, and it's very, very bad.
Are you done?
And it got to be to a point where you're gonna have to finish the job. They really they asked for things. Don't forget, we got a lot of hostages out. So now we're down to the final hostages, and they know what happens after you get the final hostages. And basically, because of that, they really didn't want to make a deal. I saw that. So they pulled out, and they're going to have to fight, and they're going to have to clean it up. You're going to have to get rid of it.
And again, they're just commenting on the fact that Shane Gillis is going to have a blast with that because he's the comedian guy that does such a good Trump. But yeah, I mean, basically they didn't want to make a deal, so they're going to die. You know, it's just like, whew, tough. But that's the direction it's going. So, yeah, not good. Net and Rehal. Let's combine those two words right there. That's what I just did. Netanyahu recalls team from Qatar as Gaza ceasefire talks collapse. Yeah. You gotta appreciate the moments when they happen. But yeah, pulling people back. The talks didn't happen. Trump was talking about it. I guess they're gonna die. France, though, is gonna recognize the state of Palestine. This is a bad idea. They're doing it in September, but they're seeming to be announcing it now. But this sounds to be formal when they have their United Nations General Assembly meeting. There's that. But UK Starmer's also saying they're gonna hold an emergency call with E3 partners tomorrow. They're going to discuss what they can do to urgently stop the killing in Gaza. They also get down that we are clear that statehood is the inalienable right of the Palestinian people. So we've got Starmer and Macron, both deep state people, unquestionably, talking about the Palestinian state. We know Trump is pretty not on board with that. We'll get there. Secretary Marco Rubio says the United States strongly rejects Emmanuel Macron's plan to recognize a Palestinian state at the UN General Assembly. This reckless decision only serves Hamas propaganda and sets back peace. It's a slap in the face to the victims of October 7th. Ouchie. And I believe we've got Trump. Nope, Ambassador Mike Huckabee, sorry. He took a little jab at it too. Macron's unilateral declaration of a Palestinian state didn't say where it would be. I can now exclusively disclose that France will offer the French Riviera, and the new nation will be called a Frankenstein. Frankenstein? Spelled Frankenstein, though, kind of. Frankenstein? I like it. I thought it was kind of cute. Here's Trump talking about Macron saying what he said.
Counterproductive to France, for France to say that they would recognize the Palestinian state. Macron said that yesterday.
Look, he's a different kind of a guy. He's okay. He's a team player, pretty much. But here's the good news. What he says doesn't matter. You know, it's not going to change it.
So how good is that?
Well, he made a statement, France, Macron. His statement doesn't carry any weight. He's a very good guy. I like him, but that statement doesn't carry weight.
Basically, no one gives a shit. Did I put that in straight enough stuff? Candace Owens, I don't know. Small part of me's rooting her on. I don't like her. Don't. I think most of the time she's on the wrong side of things. Again, I've watched her in the past. I loved her early on in the whole MAGA movement, and then I saw the direction that things went. But good on her. She's extraordinarily successful and famous. She's being sued, or threatened lawsuits anyways, by, I think it was actually filed, by French President Emmanuel Macron and his lovely partner, Brigitte. Now, this is an interesting thing, because really the only way to prove it, if this actually goes to court all the way, is Brigitte would just have to take a born, you know, one of those, the chromosome tests, right? That's it. Done. There's no way they could have transitioned her that far if she's transitioned like the rumors go. Or if she's actually a woman like she claims, well then cool. That'll show up too. So, all right, let's do this, Brigitte. I think the whole world wants to know, and Candace Owens apparently is willing to put her money where her mouth is, at least. Again, 3.5 million subscribers. She's doing all right for herself. she's doing okay. And I'll be interested to see. It's going in a Delaware court, but I don't know. Iranian helicopter confronts a U.S. destroyer approaching territorial waters. Supposedly, it basically said, look, you must move. You must go to a different place. Said it in English. And eventually, and we don't have that on tape, but eventually, the destroyer said, you must get away from us or we will open fire on you. And the helicopter went away is what happened. Destroyer would have been, they were in international waters. They would have nuked that helicopter in seconds. I'm sure they had something trained on it. I hope. When it was flying by, I was like, there was a, where was it? I feel like there was one. Yeah. There was one of these where you can see a couple of the different little phalanx guns, which would probably be the easiest one to use. I mean, you wouldn't use a missile. Yeah, it'd be done. There'd be the small, like, yoo-hoo kind of thing going on. So anyway, they were very close to shredding one of those. Iran put a communication satellite in low Earth orbit for just shits and giggles. One communication satellite, which is what it sounds like it was. Now maybe there was more than that, but they said there was a Iran's Nahid 2 satellite, singular. There was 18 small commercial satellites. So, there's that. But maybe 2, let's see, including 2 scientific satellites and 18 small. So there's over 20 payloads. So maybe they had a couple of these. I don't know. But, or few. Low Earth orbit stuff works for spies stuff much, much better. Some of it's just less atmosphere to deal with, assuming you can thrust your way into higher atmospheres or higher altitudes if you're still within the general upper atmosphere, because it will slow you down. It takes a long time, but the closer you are to Earth, the easier it is to take pictures. You travel very quickly. You go around once every hour and a half or something. It was pretty quick. And so those work well, and you can they kind of go in orbits where you can, get a good picture of stuff often. And, things can change. That was one of the tricks that used to happen back in the day when satellites were first used. A lot of times we'd pull stuff out of the hangars, do flight tests, knowing that the Soviet satellites would be overhead and, at a certain specific time. And that was when they had to cover stuff, get it back in the hangar, whatever they got to do, make sure it's flying. So they put a communication satellite in orbit or 2. So we'll see. They put possibly more than 1. Let's put it that way. Because they said they shot more than 20 payloads, and they account for their 20, and then there's the, so yeah, that was nice of them to help. U.S. is eliminating senior ISIS leader in Syria. Operation, they smoked this dude, and they didn't kill some children and women, which was interesting. So I don't know if it sounded like it was a Delta Force thing. Went in, dropped this head dude. Where's his name? I won't be able to say it anyway. Oh yeah, there it is. ISIS leader, Dihya Zabba Musli al-Hardani. Let's say that again. Dihya Zabba Musli al-Hardani. Not trying to make fun of him, just a weird-ass word in this country. In English, anyways. Apparently, 2 adult sons of the terrorist, Abdallah Dihya al-Hardani and Abd al-Rahman. I love ramen. Ramen's good stuff, man. I had some noodles earlier today, in fact. He's part of that Dihya Zabba al-Hardani family. Dude, there's no way. No way. Not in a billion years. Folks, your pets, one way you can help their immune systems is you can get this mushroom. It's called Coriolus versicolor. There's a number of ways you can get it into them. First off, there's research. They talk about the different studies about us. I think there's, one of these has actual people talking about the stuff they've noticed with their pets. There's just a lot of people that have raved about this product. I've heard from a couple people that, I don't know, the mush puppies, the mush ponies, like, I don't know, something, I don't know if they're consistent or not, but for whatever reason, these might get tiresome to the animal after a while. But there is Mojos. Mojos are the liver treat. Their cats tend to dig them. Mush puppies are kind of a biscuit. And so you might want to, switch it up so they don't get fully tired of it. But each one of them has the Coriolus versicolor in them, and it just helps with the immune system. It helps with their coats, helps with all sorts of stuff. If you've got situations where maybe it's a little more extreme, There's the opportunity to get it in the food, canned food. They've got a special sauce you can put on top. They've got freeze-dried food as well. It's all high-quality ingredients. A lot of the stuff that comes from like China and other places where there's all sorts of crap, processed foods. Again, not good for us, not good for your pets. Antler stick's a fun one for dogs. It's just really healthy for them. You know, they like sticks. They don't care. So they're going to run around with this thing and be all stoked and happy. You give them an antler stick, it's actually giving them nutrition. It's helping with their teeth, which is a big part of why they chew on stuff. And it's better that than your shoes. And it's also, like I said, healthy. That mineral gets in their mouth. It's like bone. It's good stuff. It's very good for it's just good minerals for the dog. Also get some rope pull toys and stuff like that. You know, they got the Nipster thing for the cats. Cats have access to all the food. They've got the pills too. Dogs have a lot more going on. Mutt mints, and they got the chill doggies. They got some cool other stuff that you can use. I always want to switch the view. That doesn't work that way. Like I said, cats, they have the cat food now, the Nipster thing. No lead or any of that kind of stuff in there. We've got stuff for horses in the humans tab, by the way. And the humans tab's pretty freaking awesome. There's a guy, Baby Trump, running around saying that he had a tumor in his throat, and he took a whole bunch of this stuff, and that played a huge part in the tumor going away. I don't know. I'd probably go this route too if I were faced with that option. But this is something that majorly helps. They've got gummies. They've got the pills. I've got those sitting right here. And again, for every 50 pounds, you take one pill a day. And he was doing like 5 times that. So he was doing like mega doses. You can't really go too crazy on it. Frankly, you can't. If you can handle eating that many pills, you're going to be fine. They've got coffee with it. They've got chocolate chips with it. Just good stuff. Go to danradiostyle.petclub247.com. That's danradiostyle.petclub247.com. Those healthy choices for all your little babies, kitties. China was sending Russia engines for their drones, but they were packing them as cooling units for refrigeration. And that's how they were able to send a bunch of them. That should have caught our attention. Just they got some new thing going on in refrigeration up in Russia? Because it's really cold. You know, keeping things cold is less hard to do up there than, say, down at the equator. All said, they were sending a bunch of these engines, 4-stroke, air-cooled, horizontally opposed piston engines originally produced by Xiamen Limbach Aviation. So they were falsely labeled. Russia proposes brief truces as another POW swap is achieved. They don't want long-term truces going on, long enough maybe to let them get some people off the battlefield. But Russia knows that if they give any sort of level of truce or ceasefire, that Ukraine will just use it to ramp up their weapons from the West. And so really Russia's got to do what Russia's got to do, which is continue to hit hard. It's got the supply lines built up. It's going to not allow Ukraine to resupply, and they won't be able to. They're going to have a hard time getting anything in there and any Patriot batteries set up. I mean, Russia's got Ukraine in a very tough place right now. And with outside of a ceasefire, there's little to nothing that the Western world can really do to offer support other than directly getting involved, which would be a super, super huge problem. Turkey showcases a new hypersonic weapon amid the standoff with Israel over Syria. They just wanted to demonstrate that they've got this new missile. It's the Typhoon Block 4. This is a kind of a common class of missile that they actually have out there. And this one's about 7.2 tons, which is heavy, I guess. 10 meters in length as well. Estimated to have a range about 1,000 kilometers, but it is hypersonic, which just means typically means I think it goes more than Mach 3, typically. Really anything over Mach 1, I think, kind of, or at least over 2, hypersonic, technically. But anyway, whatever. India conducts trials for UAV-aided missiles. Kind of an interesting concept. These are air-to-ground missiles. They just bring it up on a drone and launch it, and then drone comes back down and reloads. It's a pretty neat way to launch missiles, frankly. You don't need a big platform. It's very cheap and inexpensive. They're hard to shoot down. They're not up very long. You probably could launch multiple missiles with one, assuming you've got them stashed in some location. I mean, if you're just out in the open, you're probably going to get nuked. But if you've got them hidden under like a pretty solid, visual, camouflage, then you could probably launch a bunch of those. I don't know. It's a neat idea anyway. So India's doing that. Rather than buying a bunch of planes, they're like, we'll just use drones, man. Shoot missiles with those. It's like, that actually is not a bad idea. If you can get those moved up close to the front lines, I mean, that's tricky, but yeah. Trump EPA is removing all the greenhouse gases from the list of dangerous pollutants. They included CO2 and methane, are two that they're removing. That's going to piss a lot of people off. Everybody that believes, that's been brainwashed, that these are specifically the gases that are causing problem. One of my favorite little statistics to throw at people is how much of the air we breathe, how much of it's carbon dioxide? Go ahead. Curious what your thoughts are. How much? Some of you looked it up. It's cheating, but that's fine. But 0.4%. 0.4% of air is CO2. I actually think that number's a little high, but whatever. So it's tiny ass percentage of our atmosphere. It's not the problem. There's more water in our atmosphere, which does a better job of holding in global warming temperatures, and it also allows other stuff to happen as well. But so again, CO2 is not that much of a problem. I had a weird car fire that went sideways. This was not a battery-powered car, by the way. It was actually a gas-powered car, and it was the fuel tank that goes kabooey, and it goes kabooey pretty big. I don't know if there's... Yeah, we just keep it muted. It'll work. That's definitely... you're like bummed if you're like, fuck, I parked next to him. That sucks. That sucks, right? This guy's tires, that guy's tires, this guy's whole car is on fire. This guy's car's... Yeah, boom. Boom, boom. Boom, boom. That is called an explosion. All right, we got a live music show coming up in a very short period of time, about 2 hours, frankly. And it's going to be fun. Vietnam-era music. If you want to join us live, cool. If not, you can always listen to it just afterwards. It's on Rumble, on BitChute, Odyssey. I don't know if you can listen to it afterwards on Odyssey. I'm kind of starting to debate on maybe not putting it there anymore, because nobody watches it ever. I get videos. They watch my videos. I just don't like the music stuff for some reason. And X doesn't keep it after, which is a bummer, but you can be a part of the live show on X. It's a lot of fun, and I get a decent number of people watching over there too. But again, a lot of fun. Hopefully you guys enjoy it with us. That will be happening at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern on all Fridays. I do a music show. Hopefully you guys will join. And that's it. Again, we got a lot going on. Things are happening quickly. There seems to be some patterns to this movie that I keep noticing. I think you guys probably are too. I think we've got some good news coming. I think they're going to try to spin it how they're going to spin it. It's not going to work out well. We own the airwaves. You guys rippling, you're making all the difference in the world. Where we go one, we go all. It's on the Fringe with Dan Radio Style.